So are we supposed to start the podcast?
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Patriots, gay triots, they triots, black triots, and brown triots. Fuck off! Welcome to America's Top DEI Podcast, hosted by these two broads and just fighting through the good fight in Trump's America. Pumps, what have you had it with?
Okay, what I've had it with, and I know we've talked about it before, but it's been a while and it deserves a retouch. I cannot stand it when people send me a text to my phone that I know, and they begin it with Angie, and then they write what they're going to write, and then they sign their names.
I know exactly who just did this to you. It's your ex-husband.
Yes, he does it all the time. He's the worst. And I'm like, I have your number in my phone. First of all, if I'm receiving the text, I'm pretty sure I know I'm Angie, and I don't need your signature on a text message. I find it so ridiculous that you're going to text somebody. That'd be like every time I text you, Jennifer. Well, I'm texting your number, so you should be the recipient. And people, we have caller ID. We know who's texting us. If not, there's no name. It just goes all through me. I just feel like it's one more grandstand, unnecessary. Had it.
The initialing and signing the text, I think there's a layer of narcissism to that. Because the people that I know that do it kind of have those issues. But I'm just like, MFer, your number is saved into my phone.
Right.
So when you text me, I already know exactly what your initials are. I know what your phone number is. Like, it's so ridiculous, the signing of the text. But I knew immediately when you said that, because this should provide you just a small bit of comfort. The torture that your ex-husband extols onto you with his over-the-top, ridiculous, formal text messaging as though he were writing a personal business letter.
Right.
He does that to everybody.
Right. I'm not special.
When I have received text from him, it is the same formality of bullshit. It is just ridiculous. And I have to admit, there's something angering about receiving that. Because it's like when you're in a text, it's about the most informal form of communication that there can be. Gen Z doesn't even capitalize letters,
right.
Use punctuation, anything. Like they've let all of that go. So when somebody enters into that communication genre and wants to use, Dear Angie, comma, space, tab over. I was just talking to the kids and blah, 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 blah. And then goes down, creates some more spaces and signs with his initials. That is the kind of shit you want to take the person's cell phone to the highest skyscraper you possibly can and throw it off and have it like weighted,
right.
Like 100-pound weight to ensure that it smashes everything, the SIM card and all.
Into 100,000 million pieces. Hate it. I think you're right about the narcissism. I'm going to be on the lookout.
I do. I think that when people sign, and then you also see the same, like when people sign on their Instagram accounts, they initial their description of the photograph. They put their initials on it. And I'm just like, stop it.
You are not the Princess of Wales, because that's what Kensington Palace official, William and Kate, Princess and Prince of Wales, when they actually write it, they sign their names. Bitch, you are not that.
Well, and even that.
It's kind of over the top.
Even that's over the top. I mean, we don't give a shit if it's your proxy or if it's you. It's your account. So let's just keep it at that.
You own the account because your picture's on it. So if you put something on there, we're all just going to assume
you be responsible for all the stuff you do. And then what is it? Why are you poo-pooing the other messages that are done under your account?
That's what I was wondering on the Princess and Prince of Wales.
You know what I mean? Like I think that's so over the top. But of course, this is like the bullshit royal family.
Right.
But anyway, I'll tell you what I've had it with.
Okay.
Pap smears.
Yeah.
So, I had to go to the OBGYN today, and I go every year dutifully. And I just thought, as I'm sitting there talking to my doctor, and she was telling me how awful it is being in the healthcare industry right now, that people are now more crazy and frenetic than they were during COVID. Just the lambasting of expertise. So I have a couple things I want to address on this. Number one, I want to tell everybody to be kind to your doctors and healthcare providers, unless those doctors and healthcare providers voted for Trump, and then Trump appointed RFK Jr. And I think that RFK Jr. should be personally responsible for treating Donald Trump and all of his many dementia and cholesterol and other issues that he has going on. That's number one. Number two, I think there should be a little tiny, like miniature little Q-tip with a little pipe cleaner on the end of it. And once a year, these men go in for a penis smear. Uh-huh. And it just goes down into the little pee-pee hole, scrapes around like they do your Pap Smear. You got to do it annually, you're screening, and then ship it off. And then I want an all-female government, pretty much predominantly female government, to then start telling them what they can and cannot do with their dicks.
Right.
That's my fantasy dream right now.
I would just even start, I would think that I would feel a little bit better if no erectile dysfunction meds were given out, because that, to me, seems like they're messing in reproductive health care.
Well, and it also is gender-affirming care.
It's gender-affirming care, so you don't get to have it.
These limp dicks with their gender-affirming care, I think now we know all the projection about all the trans issue is because they do gender-affirming care.
Right, because they can't get a hard dick.
Right.
And so, let's start there, because I promise you, if women were in charge, this would not be an issue, because they understand different situations and are not so fucking crazy. But here's the thing. I just feel like they get away with everything. We're advertising erectile dysfunction meds every other commercial. You can send them to your house in a disguised box. I want all the boxes to say limp dick. Joe has a soft penis. That's why he's getting this box, because he sucks in the bedroom. That's where I want to start.
That would be law number one in our all-female government. Yeah. It would be Donald J, maybe Donald T, has a small penis and hasn't had an erection in 10 years, so we thought we'd send him this as big as possible on the box to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I
would love that. Or you're at the pharmacy and they're like, Donald T, your limp dick medicine is ready. Please come pick it up at the pharmacy. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah. I just, while we're on this subject, I would like to make a law in our imaginary government. Okay. Which would be petty and stuff. So our imaginary boss bitch government, I would mandate a law that every person that voted, whether they're still in office or not, this would be by law. Every person that voted for anti-gay, anti-trans, anti-woman, anti-abortion, anti-child, blah, blah. Any person that voted against that stuff, your Google search history has to be made public record into a domain called the Asshole Island hit list. And so we could start with Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
What porn sites have we been on? When did he exit out of the video? So we can then go back in and see what was the money shot for Lindsey. What was it? What was he seeing?
Ooh, I like that.
Mike Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
I guess we could also just text his teenage son and get those documents.
Yeah, we could get those from him.
But, JD Vance, I want to know what is on the search history of these people. I just do.
Well, because I think it's a window into their souls, because
it's a window into their hypocrisy.
Well, yeah, which they have no soul. So that was a bad choice of words. But, they just tempt us with crashing Grindr twice during the Republican National Convention. So we know it's on there. It's coming. And they're all just the grossest. I'm trying to think of some other laws that I want to do. That's a great idea in our imaginary kingdom.
So
Queendom.
That drag queen, we've had her on the podcast, Katya.
Yeah, love her.
Okay, so she trolls the shit out of Lindsey Graham all the time on Twitter. Just relentlessly just trolls the shit out of this guy. And I've got to find this one that she tweeted to him, because I spit my water across the room. Oh, please tell me she didn't delete it. Oh, let me find it. Okay, here it is. Here it is right here. So Lindsey Graham, this is, he tweets on June 12th, game on, pray for Israel. Katya, the drag queen from her verified account, responds with comment, Life is not a joke and war is not a game, but you clearly don't give a shit about public service or human life. You're nothing but an abhorrent, Zionist, death cult cheering, soulless ghoul. Just quit politics and focus on something you really love, like, oh, I don't know, maybe sucking dick after dick in public bathroom, you despicable, closeted, fat piece of shit. No notes. I mean, absolute hashtag goals.
Right.
I mean, that is like, that popped up and I was just like, I remember when we had her on, I was like, oh my God, this is a very, very, very smart drag queen. This is a very smart human being. And like, it was such a great episode. And this was like when we were baby podcasters. Yeah. And so shout out to Katya because she just came on. I mean, we didn't have that big of a following yet, just to support other people in the industry because she's a podcaster as well with Trixie,
who came on.
Who both came on. So, of course, I start following her on Twitter, and I mainly get on Twitter to look for, subjects for the podcast, and I don't actively tweet. Well, Katya does. She fucking dismantled Lady Graham. I mean, that is a homicide.
Right. 911.
Welcome to I've Had It. I'm Jennifer.
I'm Angie, HBIC. And I really like that the beaver is picking up steam.
Kylie, how are you today?
I've got some reviews for you today. The first one is a hate comment. It's 1 star titled, "No, I've Had It." And Socialite writes, "These hosts are incredibly out there with their views. How anyone can listen to this nonsense is beyond me. No thanks."
Well, here's the deal. Thank you for the review. That helps us.
I mean, exactly. I say this all the time, but I'm just flattered that somebody takes the time and the care to go find where to write the review on something that you don't like. I don't have that enough passion in my hatred for things to take it over the finish line about some random podcast that two old broads like you and me are on. I mean, that's just like a point for us, in my opinion.
I completely agree.
Okay, next.
Okay, next we've got 5 stars titled, "Here's the Thing." And David writes, "These unhinged ladies, one much younger than the other, have been infiltrating my algorithms for months, and I finally jumped in. They are quickly becoming my favorite new parasocial mommies. I'm 36. They may be unhinged, judgmental, and foul-mouthed, but in addition to these positive qualities, they're also extremely correct about everything. I love when they say, 'Here's the deal. Here's the thing,' or 'let me ask you this,' because I know a real banger, petty or otherwise, is about to be said."
I think that's so true. Well, yeah, I loved it when Pumps and I are diving into something. I love to ask her, like a fuck, marry, kill, or what she would do in a situation, because she takes the question very earnestly and seriously. And she wants to okay, well, let me think about that.
Yeah.
Like if it's a fuck, marry, kill of Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Ted Cruz. I mean, I'm
tortured by it.
But you really scout the question and give a very reasoned answer to such a diabolical ask that I ask of you, and I get so much joy out of it.
Well, and here's the thing. As crazy as it seems, I kind of dig it. I kind of like going through all the patterns.
Sadomasochism. Okay. Kylie, how are the lesbians doing?
They're good. They're all moving out of Oklahoma as they should. I think Anna and I are going to be the last left here.
God, so all the lesies are moving?
Yeah, the gays are fleeing.
I can't blame them. This is a hostile state to women, and it's a hostile state to the LGBTQ plus community. It's just a very archaic nut job. It's religious psychos everywhere. Mm-hmm. But listener, I want to tell you, in Oklahoma City, it's purple. When we have liberal friends, and they are diehard liberals. When you have a blue dot that lives in a red state, they are so fiercely liberal because they've had to fight for that liberalism. And those are some of the best liberals in the country, in my opinion.
No, I agree.
Okay, I have some news stories I'd like to share with the class. The first one, 8 signs you're probably an extroverted introvert. And I totally think I am this. Sign number 1, certain people drain you while others energize you. Ding, ding, ding. Number 2, you find people both intriguing and exhausting. 100%, I do both of those. Number 3, you love being alone, but appreciate good company. 100%.
I can do that one. The other 2, I'm just an introvert. Okay.
Number 4, your energy levels are closely tied to your environment. That's 100% true for me.
Yeah, same.
Number 5, you would rather say what's on your mind than make small talk. And this is the biggest one for me. I would much rather have a conversation of substance than sit around and feign small talk. I'm not very good at it. I don't like it. It doesn't have any deeper meaning for me. My brain just starts wandering off immediately when I have to engage.
Yeah, and that's going to get worse as you get older. And you're going to get to where I am, which is, it's not that I want to talk about what's on my mind. I just don't want to talk, period.
See, I find this so fascinating because when I'm out with you, it's the contrary to what you say on the pod.
Yeah, but I don't go out very much. How many times do you see me out in a month? Maybe once.
I've seen you out trolling around all these NBA games.
Well, I mean,
I've
that's
seen you
different.
all hookered up, running around
That's
the
different.
Paycom
Oh, I
Arena.
did take a picture and I looked at it and I thought, I do look like a corpse with lipstick. Didn't somebody say that on the pod?
You do not.
No,
You
I
look
thought I did it in the
pretty.
picture. No,
I think
I
you
don't
look
need. I'm not
fabulous.
doing it for that, but I'm just like, oh, they might have had a point. But so far, I think I'm just more of an introvert.
Okay, go on. You enjoy socializing, but always have an escape plan. That's both of us to a T.
Yeah.
You are selective with your people and your social calendar. That's 100%.
True.
I'm totally that. And number 8, people often mistake you for an extrovert.
True.
Yeah, 100% true. At the core, it's funny because I'll get invited to stuff and I notice like people are so excited to invite me. Like they're excited about the event. And I perceive the invitation as like a living, breathing resentment.
I agree.
That has just been delivered to me, whether it is, this is so bad. So our friend Brad, one of my dearest friends of 30 years, Brad's birthday party invitation came out and it was texted and it was like a paperless post. And we're going to be in Italy in September. And he and I said, okay, we'll celebrate your birthday then. But his official birthday's in October, and the birthday party is going to be in Arizona in October. We already had the conversation about celebrating the birthday in September. So I get the paperless post, and I immediately respond, decline, and just cleared it from my plate.
Like it never happens.
So Brad and I were at the march, the No Kings March. And as we're marching along, he goes, you sure did decline my birthday party invitation really quickly. I go, well, we're doing it in Italy. And he goes, yeah, no, but can't you do both? I mean, we've been friends for 30 years. I'm like, then I kind of start to feel bad. But Brad, if you're listening, I think Italy's sufficient.
I think it's plenty.
And I
think it's
love
enough.
Brad. He's like one of my favorite people on the planet. He's so good and nice and bitchy and catty and all of the stuff that encompasses a person that I like. Like the other day when we went to the march, he was bossing me around left and right, just criticizing my driving. I loved it.
Loved it. No,
Loved
he's the
every
best there
second
is.
of it. So anyway, Kylie, are you an introverted extrovert?
I think I'm becoming one. I think I used to be just a full-on extrovert.
Are we making you worse?
I do think it's you guys.
Okay, let me ask you if you think it's this. We have to talk so much in these jobs that I've noticed, like when I did interior design full time, I had a lot more serenity. Number one, I wasn't talking about Trump and I was creating things. But a lot of that work is done in solitude.
Right.
It's me grinding, working, putting together different things. And there was a real satisfaction and sense of accomplishment that I had in that was just tied to me. And then when I get into this job, it's so interconnected. It feels like oftentimes, like when I'm done with this, I don't want to talk to anybody.
That's how I feel. Like sometimes since my kids are at home right now, and I'm like, I'm just going in my room. I don't want to talk. I'm just done talking for today. I've talked enough.
Do you think that's it, Kylie?
I do. And I also think the politics plays a side to it. Like what we talk about all day and what we read all day, I go home and I'm like, nobody fucking talk to me. Don't talk to me about politics. I'm sorry. Like it just kind of fries your brain a little.
And it's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it's really like the shit. I think the hardest thing for me is knowing that we live around so many goddamn horrific people. That's the hardest part. Like Trump being a piece of shit, being a fascist, being an authoritarian, any person that's even taken any history class, this happens. Right. People want to do this. The enabling of people within the United States to do it and to trample down on that. That's the part that is the grossest for me. And then on a state level, the grossest thing for me is out of all 50 states, the state that's ranked dead last for women's well-being is Oklahoma. If I'm the governor of this state, I would make that something that I would address, something that I would say, we have to improve this, because you cannot on the one token say we support families, we support kids, we support mothers, we're so pro-family, we're a big Jesus state and we just value family, while at the same time do nothing about being ranked dead last in women's well-being. I mean, this is not a safe space for women. And that type of contradiction, that type of hypocrisy, and that type of moral duplicity is where democracy dies. Nobody fucking holds this man accountable. Nobody. Of course, he didn't win Oklahoma City. So that to those of you listening, everybody in the city hates him, and he even quit campaigning in the city, and he just had to go out and get his votes in rural America. But just that knowing all the hypocrites around in Oklahoma, there's just something that Trump exposed in them that just is so unsettling for me. And I know that y'all feel it. I know that listeners out there feel it. Like you go to a store and like you see somebody walk in that looks kind of Trumpy, and it just kind of makes your stomach turn.
Yeah, it makes me like heartbeat goes up, like I'm angry kind of. But I look at Republican, like when you're describing, it's Republicans, we're so pro-life. Yet we're going to do nothing about guns, nothing about childcare, nothing about social safety net after a child is born. Only thing we're going to do is tell women what they should do with their bodies. Like the hypocrisy is Republican play 101. Stitt, I mean, I've never been a fan, but he lost me as a lame duck when he didn't come out. He has not come out against any of this shit from the state superintendent that is making people dumber every single day in this state.
You know why? Because
he didn't give a shit.
He believes it. He believes it. He just wishes Ryan was a little less crazy about it. And listen, I'm talking about Ryan Walters. They believe it. If you went and interviewed people that went to that crazy Christian school, or the people that go to that Crossings Christian Church or Life Church, or your parents, or all of these Christians around here, and you ask them item by item all the stuff that Ryan Walters, do you believe this? Do you believe this? They would have 100% agreement with him. Evangelical Christians believe that. The reason Stitt hasn't stood up against that is because he believes it and this electorate believes it. Ryan Walters is just a little bit unhinged about it. But the core tenets of everything he says, they believe. God damn, Crossings Christian School, Oklahoma, where does the governor send his? What's the name?
Oklahoma Christian.
Oklahoma Christian. Listen up, listener. These schools make you sign a document saying that marriage is to only be between a man and a woman. That is one of their core tenets that they want kids to value. Bigotry. So what Ryan Walters says is not that big of an aberration from that.
I guess you're right.
They believe it. They believe it. You know I'm right because you grew up in this.
Makes me so mad.
But that's why your story pumps is so valuable. And you should talk to the people at that old Christian school. Yeah. I mean, you could make change on a person-to-person basis.
Well, I have on the people that I like, but I had a really small group there anyway.
Yeah.
I wasn't very popular, which is hard to imagine, I know.
I also want to say on Jen, your original point, we all went to the No Kings protest recently, and it made me tear up a lot just being reminded that there are that many people around us in Oklahoma, because it doesn't feel like it at all. And so going to stuff like that, finding people like that, I think that'll help people a lot.
Well, and I think it's important, you know, we rag on these red states, but at the core of the moral compass in all of these red states, there are really good, open-minded people.
That's right.
That care for the people who can't vote for everybody else. And, you know, you have the really cruel people in these states. And I feel it when I go in places and I see it. Like you can see the MAGA on people. And you know that like how quickly they are to dismiss and dehumanize somebody that's an immigrant but then they're, at church every Wednesday and Sunday, every time the doors open. They have no problem exploiting somebody and paying them cheap labor as long as it benefits them. But then it's, praise Jesus.
Right.
Let's go give the pastor, 10% of our money so he can buy jet fuel for his PJ. So yeah, it's a really hard time to be American, but especially you guys, especially for the blue dots and red states, especially for them, because the state governments and then the population, they only care about literally, I think the Christians I know, like the evangelicals in the state, and I think Pumps and Kylie can confirm this. It's like their personal families, maybe 1 degree of separation, and that's it. There is not love for humanity and the betterment of people.
No,
and
betterment of self.
Yeah. Pumps and I need to share with everybody that we have written a book. It's called Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches. And believe it or not, Pumps and I have not always been so rock solid, and we talk about all of our trials, tribulations, most of all our fuck-ups. Yes, because fuck-ups are relatable and a part of the human experience.
I have gotten so much feedback regarding the book that because of my situation with the religion and addiction and all that people relate to that. So I do think there's something to take away that's comforting about it, because we've all been in very difficult situations.
And listener, what we want you to do, this is the it book for summer reading. So please get your copy of Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches and take a picture of yourself with the book in really great places and tag at I've Had It Podcast, and we will share your images with our summer it book. You can buy it in bookstores. You can buy it in the link in our bio. You can buy it at Target, Walmart, Amazon, etc. All the retailers. Happy reading and happy summer. Listener, I know that politics right now, it's just sometimes so hard to get your head around it. Sometimes you think, oh my gosh, I just want to recede. There's too much going on. But it's so important that we stay engaged. And that's why I'm so proud to share with you why the NPR Politics Podcast is where I go to decode what goes down in Washington and what every decision out there might mean for me and you. Every day, the NPR Politics Podcast team will focus on one thing and boil it down to 15 minutes or less. Think of it as your political multivitamin. What I love about the NPR Politics Podcast are the hosts are so easy to understand. They break it down for you and they make you feel like you can really get a handle on how politics are functioning, where the problems are, where the solutions are, where the propaganda is, where the spin is. I just leave the podcast feeling so much more informed and so much more in touch with what's happening in politics. Listen now to the NPR Politics Podcast, only from NPR, wherever you get your podcasts.
Does the idea of listening to political news freak you out? Well, don't sweat it. The NPR Politics Podcast makes politics a breeze. Every episode will break down the day's headlines into totally normal language and make sure that you walk away understanding what the day's news might mean for you. Take a deep breath and give politics another chance with the NPR Politics Podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts.
Some might say Homes.com is the best home shopping site. Could it be because it has a sleek, spam-free site or the most in-depth school info? Homes.com knows every parent wants the best for their kids, so they're the only ones with school and district details and reviews from multiple sources, including niche. It may be Homes.com's super comprehensive and transparent agent directory, or maybe it's that Homes.com is the only site that always directly connects you with the listing agent who knows the home best. Perhaps it's because Homes.com has the most in-depth neighborhood content of any home shopping site that's extensively researched to highlight the personality of each neighborhood. Homes.com has 22 data visualization layers, 7 environmental layers, and allows you to search by commute and architectural factors. It's the home search you've been searching for. Go to Homes.com today for home shopping the way it should be. Homes.com, we've done your homework. Oh, wait, do I have another story?
You do.
Okay, this is good. In Japan, some men give their entire salary to their wives and receive monthly allowances as pocket money. This tradition, rooted in Japan's post-war economic culture, is based on the belief that women are better financial managers. Husbands typically receive modest allowances and must budget carefully for social outings, hobbies, and lunch money. Many see it as a form of trust and teamwork within the family. While this practice is slowly declining among younger couples, it still reflects a unique cultural approach to money, responsibility, and family dynamics. It has sparked interest and debate worldwide for its contrast to Western financial norms. And I just want to go back to the closing part of the first sentence, based on the belief that women are better financial managers.
Well, I think really when it gets right down to it, women are really good at business, but you just see men in business. Women are just as good at numbers and everything else. So I go Japan. I'm all for it.
I know. I think it's really cool. You know, to think that there's cultures that like embrace women and prop women up. Like I think Iceland is really, really good at this. I've read some articles about it. But the patriarchal norms, I think that's what we're up against right now. You talk about this a lot, Pumps, that they're just like clinging on. It's like their last, like we're not going to let these people have it. So they're just, you know, it's like kitchen sink right now with MAGA. They just keep slugging. Just keep slugging at everybody.
Yeah. And I also think religion plays a big part in that because Christianity is patriarchal. I mean, from jump. But I just feel like I have to say this, even though nobody cares about what I'm about to say, but it's going to make me feel better. Having done divorce law for all my life, I just think it's a really bad thing when one person has financial power over the other, regardless of sex, in terms of it so easily can become abusive. That's just my PSA.
I think you're 100% right. I think one of the biggest things for all of the young parents out there that happen to listen to our pod is this whole idea that we're taught is that marriage, everything is joint. Mm-hmm. We share everything. It's a really bad idea.
It's a bad idea.
It's a really bad idea. Have your own money. Are there shared expenses and shared property? Sure. But it's just generally a bad idea, I think, to merge all money. Yeah. And then these MAGA people listen to this podcast and be like, those men haters. They want the women controlling all the money. I ain't letting my woman control my money.
Right. My wife's not going to control my money. Gross. You fucking suck.
Yeah.
Okay. I have some voice memos today.
Excellent. I feel like it's been a while.
I know. I came across this girl named M. She sends so many and they're so good. I'm going to play 2 of hers.
All right.
Okay. We're going to start with this one.
I've had it with people saying, "You're the best." Bitch, I know you've said the same thing to 10 other people today, yesterday, and you're going to do the same tomorrow. No, the word best is a superlative adjective. It is reserved for one person, one thing only. Say what you mean and mean what you say. I'm mediocre. I'm average. You appreciate the thing that I'm doing for you that you didn't want to do for yourself. Let's please reserve the word best to describe our ladies at the I've Had It podcast. Seriously, love you all so much. Thank you for making me laugh during these crazy ass times.
Crazy ass times. I'm guilty.
Me too.
I'm guilty, but in my defense,
I'm guilty too.
I don't just say it to I just wouldn't, text it to somebody out of the clear blue sky. Typically when I do it, it's like I'm feeling extremely affectionate and I really like that person at that time. And I'll be like, "You're the best."
I feel like in order for me to use that, I have to feel like somebody really did me a solid.
I agree.
I have to feel, I wouldn't just arbitrarily throw it out in conversation. I have to feel like for me to say that typically, and I typically don't ask people for favors. I hate people paying for anything of mine. Like I always want to pay my own way. So if I ask somebody to do something for me, that's outside of my comfort zone. But from time to time, we have to ask people to do something. So if I ask somebody to do something for me, help me with something, and they do, then I respond with, "You're the best," because I genuinely mean it because I am a very self-contained woman. I pay for my own shit. I hate it when anybody pays for anything for me. If somebody bought me something 3 or 4 months ago, it will hover in the corner of my brain that I need to reconcile that and I need to make it right. Or if somebody does me a huge favor, it still sits there that I need to do something to like repay that. So if somebody does something for me, I throw out, "You're the best," I genuinely mean it.
That's how I feel like I do. I genuinely mean it when I text it. But I might text like one of my kids, "You're the best," because they did something I liked. And
I don't think I give it to the kids.
Sometimes that's just how I end a conversation.
Are you "You're the best" abuser?
Yeah, I kind of do, but I genuinely feel it when I do it most of the time. Most of the time.
And would you say some of the times that you don't would be your children?
Yeah, but sometimes if they do something that like they would never do and it takes something off my plate and it's unexpected, then I will genuinely be like, "Oh my gosh, you're the best," because I came home and your shit wasn't everywhere and you unloaded the other dishwasher. We don't have to fight over whose cup and who has to put it in. It's just done. Like that kind of thing in the moment, it just makes me so happy that I'll say "You're the best" to my kids.
Kylie, do you use this, "You're the best"?
I think so. I just think it's nice, you know.
But I do think it gets abused. I can't
100%.
disagree with her, but I am guilty.
I think she has a good point, but I am also an offender.
Yeah.
But I will say that when I use this, it is reserved.
In the moment.
It is reserved for somebody who did me a solid.
Right. Like somebody passing me the popcorn, I'm not going to say "You're the best." But somebody going to the top of the arena and bringing it back and surprising me with it and saying, "No, I got it." Like that's in that moment, like that's the best.
Okay, up next, we've got her sending another.
Good morning, ladies. First of all, I love you all so much. I respect the hell out of you for having more balls than, let's be real, most men in the entire world. Okay. I've fucking had it with the phrase "faith over fear." I see it on tattoos. I see it on hats, shirts, t-shirts, car stickers. I'm pretty sure if you were staring down the barrel of a gun, or you were, I don't know, God forbid, being attacked by a shark in the ocean, your faith is not going to do shit, okay? You're going to be afraid. And you know what? That's fine, because you're human. That's normal. I fucking had it. I've just had it with evangelicals thinking that because they have this ridiculous faith, that the rest of us should too, and that none of us should fear anything. By the way, isn't one of their trademark lines "fear God"? So faith over fear, yet fear God. I don't get it. And I fucking had it.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, she's speaking my love language. There's nothing that I love more than some light evangelical bashing. I mean, that's just like my love language. There's so much hypocrisy and just bullshit. And then I just have this whole thing like, when you start using critical thinking with evangelicals and they go, "Well, that's why they call it faith."
Right. Which I've been guilty of.
That's always, well, I mean, I just have faith. I mean, I just believe it because I believe it because I have faith.
Right.
And it's just like, I would have never had conversations with people about religion ever. I don't have conversations with Catholics about religion. I didn't have conversations with Methodist friends. I had some friends that I grew up with that were Lutheran. I never had any of it. The only people I ever had to talk to religion about are these fucking awful evangelicals because they recruit. It is the MLM of churches. It is multi-level marketing, and they will not fucking relent. They are relentless, just like the fucking, what was that MLM that girl tried to get me to do? Arbonne. It's like that. They will not stop. And so those are the people that I had conversations about existentialism in, or religion, and they literally cannot go one question deep.
I have to say, the faith over fear goes all through me. I can't stand it. The only thing I hate more than that is when people say, "My thoughts and prayers are with you." after a school shooting or something so tragic that could be prevented, that something is preventable, and they send thoughts and prayers. And I just want to turn around and say, shove your thoughts and prayers in your ass, out your nose, and fucking sit and spit on it. It's so empty.
Well, now that you're not religious anymore, let me ask you this. When you're in public settings and people pray, in Oklahoma, listener, you often find yourself in these situations where there's like this group praying. I never put my head down, and I always scan the crowd for to see what the Christians are doing. What do you do?
I scan the crowd because I used to back in the day. I would look around. I mean, I would bow my head, but I'd look around with my eyes open. So now I just kind of, or sometimes I just look straight ahead if I don't want people to be uncomfortable.
I scan the crowd because I would always look for the people like you, the people that were Christians but nosy.
Right. Yeah.
That were kind of sitting the prayer out. And so I always get kind of it because their head's down, but you see their eyes, they're darting, like moseying around. I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting, it's an interesting thing because I always sit there and I'm like they're all so into it and I'm just not even remotely.
Yeah.
So. Oh my God, you guys, this is hilarious. Okay, so we'd gone to all the NBA Finals games, and there is a guy who dresses up like Jesus at the games, and then his girlfriend dresses up like Mary, and my son Roman and I were watching him like total like old school Jesus, garbs, like dressed like Jesus and Mary, and the cameras went over to them, and they were full blown making out
for like the kiss cam.
Well, it was. I think they were on. Yes, they were on the kiss cam, and she was eating. It looked like a bowl of ramen or something, which is a weird thing to be eating at an NBA game. And then they just start making out. Roman and I were dying laughing. I mean, like the blasphemy factor of that. Some of our listeners will get this. I think blasphemy can just be so hilarious because it's so triggering. It's like the stupidest thing, and it can be so triggering to the most devout, scared, fear-based evangelicals.
Faith over fear.
So we have this friend listener. His name is Saul, but he goes by Bingo Sparkles on Instagram, and he used to live in Oklahoma City. Now he lives in New York. But he always, when he comes back in town to Oklahoma, he wears a shirt and it will say like Satan on it. And it just says Satan, S-A-T-N. He goes in front of the evangelical megachurch and like takes his picture smiling.
I didn't know. Just gig.
I just think that kind of blasphemy is so hilarious because here's why it's funny. Because it's a nothing burger. Right. It is a no big deal. But to like this percentage of the majority of those evangelicals would just die and equate that to like child exploitation.
Right. And they're so into appearances and bullshit and surface level stuff. So that's hitting them right where it hurts.
All right, Kylie.
Okay, the last one.
Wait, one more. Well, I have a question.
Oh, yes.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Do you think blasphemy is kind of funny?
Of course I think it's funny. So funny. That's why I send you all that shit.
Don't you think here's the funny one. On Easter, everybody's like, he is risen. And it's like Zombie Jesus Day.
I haven't seen that.
Okay, I have a question about this Jesus at the Thunder game. I've seen him.
Have you seen it?
I didn't see them make out.
They were making out.
Okay, so do you think that the whole crowd, which is going to be majority Christian, gets that that's blasphemous? Because it seems like they're cheering like it's not.
I think they don't get that it's blasphemy.
They don't get it. They do not get that they are the brunt of the joke.
Yeah, no.
And actually, I'm learning more from Pumps about we had this conversation on Hip News about how chosen they think they are, how much better they think they are. You've opened my eyes up to that in our conversations on this. And I think I always looked at it as just kind of this stupid, ignorant arrogance. But it's even deeper than that. They think they are chosen by God.
Right. Well, and they're entitled to be in judgment over everybody else. Yeah.
This episode of I've Had It is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You choose to hit play on this podcast today. smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called AutoQuote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy. All right, listeners, summer's here and we're all chasing something. I'll tell you what I'm chasing is a better forehand. You all know I think I'm really good at tennis. And my tennis merch and swag that I wear directly impacts my game. That's why I cannot share enough with you how much I love Bombas socks. Seriously, they are so fantastic. They wick the sweat. They help keep my feet cool. They fight blisters, and they make specialized pairs for hiking, tennis, golf, you name it. Bombas is simply head to toe comfort. Plus, the best thing of all, they don't just feel good. Bombas actually does good. And this makes me feel so good about purchasing their products. One purchase equals one donated item to someone who needs it. And I think that's just really neat. Listener, head over to bombas.com and use the code HADIT for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com, code HADIT at checkout. Bombas.com, and be sure to use the code HADIT.
As my children are growing older, they're becoming more susceptible to fragrance in the products they use on their skin. And that is why I have been now diving in to what are the chemicals in the products that I use. And I am finding that so many chemicals are in there that are unnecessary. I was shocked that my laundry detergent is one of the worst culprits. So I switched to Earth Breeze. Their detergent sheets are free from harsh chemicals like dyes, parabens, phosphates, and preservatives. And they're way easier to use. No heavy plastic jugs, no mess, just a pre-measured sheet that dissolves in seconds. I feel so much better knowing I'm not exposing myself and my kids to those unnecessary toxins. And my laundry still comes out fresh and clean. If you want a gentler clean without harsh chemicals, switch to Earth Breeze. They're also backed by a 100% money-back guarantee. So basically, you are trying it risk-free. Right now, you can get 40% off with your subscription at earthbreeze.com/hadit. That's earthbreeze.com/hadit.
Okay, the last one is from Ethan.
Hey Jennifer, hey Pams, this is Ethan from Florida. I've memoed in a couple of times, but I've actually just really have had it with like walking into places like restaurants and bars and stuff, and men being like, and me hearing it being like, oh, she's so hot, or damn, or, and then it takes them all about 4 minutes to find out that I'm just a twink. And then they just say like mean comments like, oh wait, it's not a girl, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, but you were just attracted to me like 2 seconds ago. And I don't know. It's like, if you're gay, just say that. If you're gay, just say that, because it's really fucking annoying. Or just don't say anything at all. Just shut your big fat fucking mouth. Anyways, love you.
I think that's a point that we were talking about with Jonathan Van Ness. Like, I think that a straight man would immediately feel like an insecurity about his masculinity because it's so browbeat into them that that's why they have to be ugly. I mean, we just kind of talked about that. And so when I hear him say that, that's what I think, that they think it reflects on their heterosexual masculinity.
Yes, and I just think this is an atmosphere of just they've turned up to a boiling pace, the homophobia.
Right.
And after gay marriage was made legal under the Supreme Court when the first black president was in office, this is just too much for these white supremacists to handle.
It's a lot.
I mean, this type of, oh my God, they can be who they want to be. And I think that they're all going through quite some things, because their number one goal in life is to get you to be as stupid as they are, and to think less like they do, and to completely eradicate any form of acceptance, empathy. There's all this talk now in the MAGA movement. They have labeled empathy now toxic empathy.
What?
Yes, there is a movement where they have the MAGA, like evangelicals, they realized that Jesus was a radical, and he was radically empathetic, right? And they have a problem with that. So now they have branded empathy as toxic empathy, and the preachers are preaching accordingly now. And if you go back and you remember how Elon Musk talked about empathy, this is a messaging that they're trying to do. The rich people that use the religious nuts to control all of the masses, is now they're trying to demonize empathy.
Right. I had not heard that. That's fucking bananas.
Yeah. Turning Point is one of those conservative think tanks.
Yeah. Is that Charlie Kirk? Yeah.
Yeah. And they had a gal that was up on stage recently, like in the last couple of weeks, and she was talking about toxic empathy and how dangerous it was for the MAGA movement.
Because being kind and equality, that's bad.
Right. For me, I like, it doesn't, the evangelicals that I know, like, that's not that big of a stretch to sell that to them.
Okay, let me ask you this. I can't believe I just said that when it was brought up this episode. But do you think, as, the decades move on, the most popular religion is people are non-religious more than they are any other religion. I would think that would be amplified tenfold in this time with MAGA. I would think people that were on the fence about Christianity, like I personally know people that have left religion because of the hypocrisy of the Christians. And they're like, I don't want to be any part of that. Like, I can't. I'm out. And they really take stock in examining it. I think that this movement is going to push people out of Christianity hand over fist. Have you read anything about that?
Well, I've read a couple of things. Number one, I've read that Gen Z is turning to religion more.
Really?
Well, and this makes sense to me, because this is a generation that is looking for community, that is looking for togetherness, because this is the COVID generation. This is the raised with cell phones in your hands. And I think it's more of a sense of community. I mean, I think once they get in there and they realize, oh, it's anti-gay, a little bit white supremacist and all this shit, I think it's more socializing, if you will. But I mean, the thing about Christianity is, in Europe, it's pretty much diluted out. The United States of America is a very religious first world country. Very, especially when you get to a state like ours, it's just suffocating, the religiosity that goes on in this state and the hypocrisy that goes along with it. So I don't know. I mean, I think the numbers would continue to keep going down and down and down, because it just makes no sense.
Right.
And it's just illogical. I mean, those of you that are listening that have been so deeply indoctrinated in it, let me explain it to you like this. I wasn't indoctrinated in it at all. So to the Christian Light listener right now, I'm not trying to change your views. If your religion brings you serenity and it's your deal and you're not an asshole, it's none of my business. I don't care. And I will fight for your right to have that religion. But to explain it to you as somebody who was never indoctrinated in any religion at all, the first time you learn about Greek mythology, it sounds crazy. Like, this goddess did this and this god did that. And then they, did this and then Medusa appeared. It sounds fucking bananas, right? Christianity, for somebody who wasn't indoctrinated, has that same level of incredulity to it. Like, I can't even express to you how ridiculous it sounded when it was pitched to me when I was in middle school. The suicide mission, the human sacrifice, the virgin birth, the flood, the genocide, all of those things, if you're not indoctrinated to believe it, sounds every bit as crazy as any other religion that you've ever heard about in your life. Just for me to have heard it in the buckle of the Bible Belt makes my case kind of peculiar, but it sounded nuts. I mean, at a very young age, I was like, that makes no sense. But I mean, these kids, these peers that I grew up around in suburban Oklahoma City, I mean, they were deeply indoctrinated by their preachers and their parents to try to recruit and turn me. And even Pumps tried.
Yeah, I did. Guilty.
In a funny plot twist, she's the one that flipped.
I know. And I'll tell you what else. I defend somebody's right to be an ex-smoker more than I do staying in the Death Star. That's just my thought for the day.
All right. Well, I think that's all we have for today. Kylie, do you have anything else to add to our conversation about the recruiting evangelicals?
I don't think I have anything to say that you have not said better than I would. But it was a big part of my sorority. There was like a handful of girls that would say, hey, so-and-so. They'd reach out randomly and say, do you want to go get coffee with me? Like an older member. And if you said yes, you went and got coffee. And then they did something called bridging. Have you ever heard of this?
No.
I don't know what.
Is it like soaking, Kylie?
No. I probably would have enjoyed that in college. But they like have this diagram they draw. They get taught it at some camp and they're trying to convert you. And so they trick you. They bait and switch. Let me be friends. You're younger than me. And then they try to convert you at this coffee meeting.
Really?
Mm-hmm, that goes on a lot.
So like, did they try to do that to you or were you already?
Yeah, I was going to say you were already in
I knew about it. And so it's like within the sorority. So I knew there was like the certain girls that if they asked me to get coffee, I was not going to fucking go.
Right. They probably didn't really think they needed to take you.
I'll tell you this much, and this is universally true. The most religious people in a group of friends are the least liked.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, the most annoying religious person is always everybody's like, oh,
here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even in Oklahoma.
Oh, totally. Always. The one who was the most outspoken about the religiosity, it was always just eye roll. Eye roll, goddamn city.
God, I miss that.
So that doesn't surprise me that the white sororities are MLMing the evangelical Christianity in Oklahoma.
Yeah. I would think the ground would already, I wouldn't think there'd be a whole lot of fertile ground for them.
Yeah, there's a lot of little Jennifers running around.
You think? Mm-hmm. Well, we've got our one.
I mean, if there's like a point, 1% of the population in the evangelical just can't sleep all night. Well, we watched that documentary.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like in my pledge class, I don't think there was anybody that would say they were an atheist. Like, I really think you were the first atheist I ever knew in person. I really think that. So I just think it's kind of everybody, you don't have a lot of ground to cover because everybody's the same.
What about your generation, Kylie?
We had gays, obviously, like me. I think people that like partied more than others, they would need to get saved, things like that.
But were these partiers Christian or Christian light?
I'm sure they would say they are, but I think these people are trying to make sure.
Oh, they're just double checking.
Just in case.
Well, then I should have been called in because I was all the things. The wildest, the naughtiest.
You were also kind of, it was widely known quickly in meeting you that you were religious.
Yeah. Probably not as much in college, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because you met me after kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we were all wild as March hares.
You were making boys get boners and jeans.
That's right. Boners and jeans, let's not forget.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Let me ask you this, if y'all knew this to be true. So I remember the most religious girls in high school were the ones that lost their virginity first. Kylie?
Mine, I think, lost their anal first. That was a big thing.
That kind of came out after we were like we're not going to have vaginal sex, we're going to have anal sex. And that was the skirt. That was kind of post me, but I remember that whole thing coming out and I was like, I'm not letting somebody put something in my ass. Thank you.
There was a Christian sorority, like all the Christians were in this one sorority, and it was known that they called it the poop hole loophole.
And so they just do the butt stuff.
And they call themselves virgins after that somehow.
Okay, no, that was the big push.
Here's the thing. First of all, I think the word virgin's stupid, but okay, we have it, right? Do you think that if, let's say Jane gets fucked in the ass, but she saves her vagina for her wedding night, is Jane a virgin, yes or no?
Technically, if you define intercourse as vaginal.
Are you a yes or no? Is Jane a virgin, yes or no?
I think no.
Jane got fucked in the ass, but she didn't get fucked in the vagina. On her wedding night, is Jane a virgin, yes or no?
Probably not.
Yes or no?
No.
Kylie?
No, I think somehow you're past a virgin.
I agree. I think you're like
way past.
I think the person who just did the vag only is more of a virgin than the ass fucker.
Right. Like the least, people are fucking people in the armpits. Does that count as sex? People are, people do weird shit in the name of religion sexually. But I think that's kind of how it was designed. That's kind of the plan from jump.
What? What was the plan?
Like controlling people sexually. So like you can't have sex, you can't have sex, you can't have sex. So it becomes this big taboo, and then people are automatically going to find a workaround.
Pardon the pun.
I didn't even think about that, but yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know what more we can cover on this.
I mean, we've talked about ass sex. We've talked about smoking. We've talked about, is there anything we haven't, introvert, extrovert?
Trump.
This has been the PSA of all PSAs. This is where it's at. You get smarter if you're here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to say this. I want to leave everybody with this. It's so stupid to try to control other people's sex lives. It is stupid. It's a fool's errand. And it goes back to what Katya calling out Lindsey Graham. That at the core of Lindsey's problems are Lindsey.
100%.
And it goes back to, in my all-female government, we will have all of this released.
We're going to have this thing knocked out. I bet it wouldn't take us 6 months to whip this thing into shape.
Okay, we have to stop. It's too much.
We have to stop. All right, we will see you next Tuesday and Thursday.
I'll tell you what I've had it with. Let's hear it. I've had it with that.
Listen up, patriots, gaytriots, and natriots. We have a new podcast that has dropped. It's called iHip News. It's Monday through Friday, every day, 15 to 20-minute hot takes on the political landscape of the United States of America, always served with a side of petty grievances.
We are on all the available platforms, Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever you get your podcasts, and YouTube.
Please go rate, subscribe, and review so that we will chart upwards with America's greatest legal mind. Pumps, what does an eagle say?
Caw-caw.
A little bit more enthusiasm.
Caw-caw.
That's it. That's
caw-caw.
That's the patriotism that this country needs right there.